I want to just show you very quickly how you can add a quick little pop-up message to your SSIS packages. Now let me just say, let me lead with this. This is a terrible idea to do in production. This is a great idea though to do when you're learning SSIS. So it's not something I'm going to do for production level SSIS work, but it is definitely something that I'm going to do if I am trying to learn how SSIS works, or even if I know SSIS pretty well, but I'm trying to get the value of a variable at a specific point without using a breakpoint. It's pretty simple without using a watch, for example. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me just show you first off how it works. So I'm not going to do anything fancy except for I will make a new project. The only purpose of making a new project is so that it generates me a new package. And I'm going to go to close you out, and I'm just going to go to the toolbox, and I'm going to drag a script task onto the environment. So the script task is going to be covered a lot more in depth later in the course. The only purpose that I'm going to mention it right now is for showing us pop-ups. Okay, I'm not going to mention anything else. We'll cover it later, trust me. Right now I just want to add this in here so we can work with a couple of things. I'm going to choose my language. I'm going to choose Visual Basic, and I say Edit Script. This uses the VSTA, Visual Studio for Applications, and I'm going to come down here. I have full-blown access to .NET, so if you know how in a Windows Forms application to do a pop-up, then you know how to do it here. So all it is in Visual Basic is message box. You can see it starts prompting me as soon as I type in message, .show, and then I just simply type in my message. Hey y'all. And that's it. I can close out of here. I can hit F5 to execute, and I'm going to get a fancy little pop-up that says, hey y'all. So I say, okay, that's super easy, right? Let me show you the C# version for anybody wanting to do C#. So I choose now, and I can't change the one. You notice I'm not allowed to switch engines. So I guess I'll need to delete that one and drag my C# guy on here. So it defaults to using C#. Edit my script. C#'s syntax, very similar. Message box dot show. And hey, Scott. The only difference in C# between VB for this example is I have to terminate the line with a semicolon, right? That's the only difference between the two for the purpose of this. So that's it. It's going to do the same thing, right? It's just going to pop up a little pop-up message. Now later on we're going to get and make these a lot more interesting, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about variables. And so we'll go create a variable. So we click the little new. And so this value would be my variable, and it would be an integer, and we'll initialize it as a 0. And then I would come over here to my toolbox and I would drag a for loop on here. And if you don't know how for loops work, then about 3-4 videos ago in this course, this is from chapter 4, SSIS 2008, I talked about, hey, here's what a for loop is, here's how you do it. So I would come over here now, I would edit my for loop. My initial expression is, I forgot what my variable was called. My variable, I should have known that. It's just my variable. So I use the at word, at my variable equals 0. So I am initializing my variable to be 0. I don't care if it was 28 before it starts running this for loop. When it initializes, it's going to be 0. As my variable less than 5, and I'm going to explain this. Let me just type it out. By the way, these are case sensitive, so you have to get these exactly right. But basically, as we talked about in that for video, the for loop video, this has written a for loop much like for int my variable equals 0, my variable less than 5, and my variable plus plus, which, and that's C# syntax there. But basically, you can, I think, get the idea that it's initializing, it's incrementing, and it's testing to see whether it's greater than 5. So that's what it's doing. And once I have this set, I will go back to my toolbox and I will grab my script task, put it in here. Now the only thing that has to change here is I have to populate the variables. If I want a variable to be read inside the script task, I need to list it right here. So if I'm only going to read the value of the variable, that's what the read-only variables will do. If I need to change the value of the variable, then I need to put it in the read-write. There's more on variables in chapter 5. Okay, this is just kind of a primer for it, a primer. So I would say then, and you can click the box right here and see my variable. Okay, or you can just type in my variable. So let's change this to Visual Basic, and I say edit script. And inside the sample code, you can actually see it right there. DTS, sorry, that should be a box then. DTS.variables, my case sensitive variable name, .value. So that's how you call it. So that's what I'll do. I'll take my message box, copy, come down here, remember message box.show, and just paste it in right there. And I need to change that to my variable. Remember, it is case sensitive. That's why it said case sensitive variable name. And that's it. Execute the package now. 0, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's just iterating through those. If you wanted that to start at 1, so you wanted it to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would go back to your code. You would just simply do math on this now. So you would say, I want you to add 1 to that value. So now it will come back as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, come on. 3, 4, 5. And that's it. So I'll put in the C# version in this as well. So I'm just going to name this one the VB. And if you're just interested in VB, I'm really done. That's it. I'm not going to teach anything new. The only thing that I'm going to do next is to make a C# version. So you are free to shut the video down if you don't want to learn how to do it in C# and go on to the next set on precedence constraints. Okay, so I'm assuming you're now interested in C#. So I'm going to disable this one and just have this one here. So same thing, I need to put in my variable here, choose my language, edit the script. Just like the VB version, it has the sample code right there. So here you go, just say message box.show and terminate it with a semicolon. Woo! And I need to make sure I have the right one, my variable, right? So that's about it. Not a whole lot to it. It's telling me that .value is an object and it wants a string, so I need to string it, and then I'm good. Say OK, execute, and you know what it's going to do, right? 1, 2, 0, 1. Well, all you'd have to do is add it to 1, convert it to an int, add it to 1, bring it back to a string. So there we go. I'll see you in the next set of videos on precedence constraints.